Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. My name is Tom duPont. I'm the publisher of the duPont Registry Tampa Bay. We are here again on our Tuesday afternoon DRTB Live. Glad to be with you. Hope you're listening in, and if not, we're certainly going to get in front of you through social media, engineering, SEO optimization, you name it. We're going to try and get there, and we look forward to you sharing our stories with everybody else. We're very fortunate to be once again at the World International headquarters of the duPont Registry, located just off of Ulmerton Road in the Gateway area of Pinellas County. It's a beautiful day in Florida for those of you who are outside of Florida, particularly someplace up north. We would like to stop for a moment, though, and send out our condolences and our prayers and our well wishes to those folks in Nashville who got hit very hard last night by an enormous tornado. We know what severe thunderstorms are like here in Florida, and we know what tornadoes are like, and my goodness, they're going to have a tough cleanup up there, and we wish them only the best. It's also Super Tuesday, so we know you're all focused on what's going on Super Tuesday and all the states having primaries, but we're not going to have a political discussion today, except for when it's your turn, vote. Do not stay home, go out and vote. No excuses. So that brings us to today. We have a special guest, Sterling Remer, president of the Chiselers. The Chiselers sounds like somebody trying to skip out on a bill, but it's much more than that. Sterling is a realtor in Tampa, and we're so happy to have you here representing the Chiselers organization, which is a unique organization. You know, in Tampa, we have all kinds of philanthropies going on all the time, demanding all of our attention, and sometimes they're just another fundraiser for money for somebody who needs it. Right. Sometimes it's just another event for somebody who needs to raise money to help those who need a helping hand, which is a good idea.
Correct.
This is a very different organization.
Very different, Tom.
The Chiselers.
The Chiselers.
And it focuses on the very core of Tampa.
Yes, it does.
The Henry B. Plant Hall.
Correct.
At the University of Tampa.
Correct.
Anybody who's been to Tampa has seen the minarets. They are in perfect shape, no doubt.
Yes, they are. And as I mentioned earlier, they are on so many commercials right now. You turn on the television, you go to Facebook, and there are the minarets.
Well, every time we do a background shot of Tampa, we make sure the minarets
are in there.
So tell us a little bit about how the Chiselers began.
I'll be happy to do that. 60 plus years ago, the then president's wife of the University of Tampa took her friends down and they discovered that the fireplaces from the original hotel had been just covered up with stuff. And they went down there and started chipping away at the fireplaces and found gorgeous tiles underneath. And they took muriatic acid and their chisels and they chiseled away. And hence the name, the Chiselers.
And this is over 60 years ago.
This was over 60 years ago.
There was no cell phone and instant communication available to get people to show up and chisel.
No. She basically asked a couple of her garden friends to go with her, and they were all women, and that's how it all started. And little by little, they grew the organization.
And they chiseled away. Chipping the plaster off of beautiful tile fireplaces. Now, Correct. Are they back in place?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Do they work?
I don't think the fireplaces work. No.
Just for looks.
They're just for looks.
But historically important,
yes,
for sure.
Historically important.
And many of you already know the Plant family and their influence on the Tampa Bay area, both Hillsborough and Pinellas.
Yes.
With the Morton Plant Hospital and the Henry B. Plant hotel originally, right?
Right.
How many rooms was the hotel?
Oh, gosh, now you got me on that one. The hotel itself is 1/4 of a mile long.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And the exact number of rooms, I'm not sure. I want to think it was in the 400s.
The Bellevue Biltmore Hotel, which was Morton Plant's genius on the bluff in Bel Air, was originally a 33-unit hotel.
Just 33?
Yes, and it grew eventually to be 400.
Okay.
And one of the most spectacular parts about it, or at least noticeable parts, is back in the heyday of the post-war, the 50s and 60s, there was a building almost the same size that was the help's quarters. The help would come down for the winter actually before the war, back in the 20s and 30s, come down for the winter and work a resort here and then go back up to the mountains to work a resort there. They had rooms for 350 members of staff that would come down and operate the hotel. And then over time it deteriorated, and happily, like what you've done for Plant Hall in Tampa, JMC, Mike Chisholm, has done for the Bellevue, now the Bellevue Inn, which has been reduced down to the original 33 rooms. They actually picked up a wooden building, rotated it 90 degrees, and moved it 100 yards across the property to a new location. It's open, operating, it's historic, and it is just wonderful. It's an icon, and you don't see anything about Bel Air, or you don't see anything about Bel Air anyway,
Right.
but you don't see anything about Bel Air without the Bellevue Inn in it, just like with Tampa.
Tampa and the minarets.
So how many minarets? Like 4, I think, or 6?
Oh no, we've got
8?
They're like 8 minarets, and we're working on 3 of them right now. And that's one of the wonderful things that we do is we apply for grants from the county and the state, and we are able to go through and restore, particularly the minarets. I like to say we do top to bottom, because right now we're doing, I believe, 3 minarets, and then we're also doing some of the underneath structural work. So,
well, it must have been exciting in those days to just be chiseling, but the organization has grown from, I think, 20 or 30 women who are down there chipping away and being careful with muriatic acid not to spill it on their shoes. And now today it's grown to a much larger organization.
300. We have 300. 300 women, yes.
And everybody's working, and the Chiselers is 5013C, so you can make donations?
Correct. In fact, what we do now, and it's coming up next weekend, is our major fundraiser. We collect all year long household items. And I mean from artwork to silver, china, crystal, kitchen supplies, and we have a huge warehouse that we store it in all year long. We mark it, we sort it, and we package it, and then starting this week, we begin to take over the University Plant Hall because the students are on break, and we start filling the hall up with all this stuff we have collected and that have been donated to us.
And how do you price it? You just guess what it's worth and put a sticker on it?
No, we've got some women that are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal experts at particularly antique jewelry, antique silver pieces, crystal pieces, furniture. Our silent auction section is mostly high-end, unique pieces.
And this takes place next weekend?
Correct.
2 days, 1 day?
Friday is the preview party, and things can be purchased at the preview party for twice the price. And then Saturday at 9:00, we open all the doors to Plant Hall, and people come in by the throngs.
So at the end of the event on just Saturday or Sunday as well?
Just Saturday.
Just Saturday. At the end of the day on Saturday, standard retail business, so there's some things that are left over.
Correct.
Dumpster or next year?
No. We donate it.
Donate it?
We then donate it to either Metropolitan Ministries or the Spring. Yes, we do not want stuff wasted at all.
And I'm sure somebody brings in something that is a ship's model, but it's fallen over 5 times and it's broken, and they've put it back together with Scotch tape. You try to keep stuff that's relatively new looking.
Yes. We do sort very carefully, and if things come to us that we feel like would not have value to us, but maybe would have value to another organization, we put it aside and then we deliver it to that organization.
So there was an organization in Miami that was called the Elegant Flea for a flea market. Okay. And they did it at a hotel. They did it at the Bellevue Biltmore.
Oh, okay.
And you were invited to bring things in, but they sent like a minimum price.
Okay.
And they did it booth by booth. So if you wanted to take some stuff in, you had your own 10 by 10. And the Elegant Flea was quite a show. You can imagine what came out of some of the homes in Miami.
Oh, I'm sure.
Over a long period of time. So we've got the event coming up. This is the annual Chiselers Market on Friday the 13th.
Well, the actual market's on Saturday.
The gala is
on Friday evening.
Friday evening, the 13th, and the sale is on Saturday, the 14th of March. What else does the Chiseler do? I know you have some other events.
We do. We over the years, one of our other big fundraisers was a fashion show, and we frequently did that with the Museum Society, and that's always been another great fundraiser. And then back in the day, they used to sell, trinkets and things like that. But our focus right now is on the market and everything that we collect for that.
And is there a summertime warehouse sale where you actually open the warehouse and people come in?
Yes. And it's interesting you asked that, Tom, because we have been very gifted with stuff. And we have found we've needed more space. So typically we try to, right before school starts, around August, we will advertise that we will have a warehouse sale at the warehouse. And in particular, we try to sell a lot of the furniture that we get, because we do get a lot of furniture, and obviously that takes up a lot of space.
A lot of space. So furniture. So you even have people have to show up with a trailer or a small truck and be able to haul stuff away.
Correct.
They got to take it on Saturday. Or they come back Sunday.
We try to be accommodating if we can. Yes.
I understand. So how many lovely ladies are involved in the Chiselers at this time?
Well, we have 300 members, but out of that 300 members, probably about half are really active on a regular basis. But then we also have women that just do so much behind the scenes stuff for us. Like, I hosted the silver polishing party at my house this past week, and I had 20 plus women polishing all the silver. So there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes.
We're talking silverware as in knives and forks and spoons, but probably some coffee urns.
Oh, beautiful platters and bowls and punch bowls, silver frames. No, lovely, lovely things. And they'll all be polished.
Yeah. So also we hear these days that one of the things that's going on in the marketplace is the demise of what they call dark furniture. And I would assume that a lot of the gifting is probably some dark furniture.
Correct. And we have some very talented women that take it and make it not dark anymore.
Paint it.
Correct.
I think the next rage is going to be anything that's been whitewashed that used to be dark brown mahogany has now got that lighter look and more beach looking and less formal.
Yes.
I got a house full. Been at it for too long. So it's going to be interesting to see some photos coming out of that sale. There's got to be some really unusual stuff.
Yes.
And we just had an auction here at the DuPont Registry.
Really?
The building's been sold, so we'll be seeing you at another location sometime in the fall. But we had a warehouse of about 25 years worth of stuff.
I bet you had some good pieces.
Here at the DuPont Registry, mostly automotive.
Okay.
I think we had 60 sets of wheels for cars that we'd taken in trade from an advertiser, and they all sold. Wow. Last Wednesday, a commercial auctioneer came in, sold the shelving, sold some desks, the wheels, parts, you name it. And they showed up like little honeybees coming in with trucks and trailers and loading things and taking it back out and coming back again. It was quite something. To film it and put it on rapid speed, it would look like we built the Empire State Building. Everybody scurrying around.
There are people that definitely follow those kind of sales, and they have a wonderful niche.
So tell us a little bit about the University of Tampa. That's the connection here.
Yes. Well, the University of Tampa, one of the things that we are very proud of this year as the Chiselers, we are honoring Dr. Ron and Renee Vaughn. Dr. Vaughn has been at the university now for 25 years, and the university has just transformed into an incredible institution, and a great deal of that is due to his leadership. Well,
my hat's off to Ron. I know him. I know his reputation in education. Yes. It's surprising that a major university hasn't come along and grabbed him. But the flip side of that is Ron likes Tampa.
Yes.
And so does his wife.
Yes, I believe they both
So do. I don't think they were too eager to move. Now, interesting side point. I went to Rollins College. So if you look not only at admissions but graduation records, Rollins also has a business school, graduate school. They are like I-4 rivals.
Okay.
And it's always kind of fun for me to bump in and ask Ron how his student matriculation is and what his grade average is graduating and how many students he admitted out of applications. He knows I'm feeding for Rollins. But they're both fine schools. And what the University of Tampa has done to establish itself not only in the educational and academic industries, but also in the community.
Yes.
They are a leader in the community in what's going on day in and day out. And, of course, they're extraordinarily visible.
Yes.
And they have a wonderful program. They have a great master's degree program, business.
Yes, and then their nursing.
And their nursing school is wonderful.
Yes.
And, of course, I don't know if we need any more businessmen, but we certainly need more nurses.
We definitely do. Yes.
So you work closely with the University of Tampa. Any other organizations tied into the Chiselers as beneficiaries? I guess RCS gets some product out of you from the sale.
Yes. What we do is we focus definitely on creating a need and working with the state and the county to get grants for the specific areas that are needed at the school. So,
correct me if I'm wrong. I think you have a scholarship at the university?
Yes, we do have a very small scholarship that we work on, and we also contribute to the library.
So the scholarship is for a local student or whoever is applying into
the whoever applies.
Local student to go to school right here.
Correct. And 1 year in particular, it gave us great pleasure. The gentleman that has been head of maintenance for UT for several years, his daughter was awarded the scholarship.
Oh, that's
and
terrific.
She has now graduated and is doing very, very well.
Those are the rewarding stories of helping out.
Yes.
We can build buildings and we can fund this and fund that.
But
when you make contact with somebody whose life has been transformed. Even by a small scholarship.
Yes.
And now they can give back on their own to the community.
Correct.
That's one of the things that so many philanthropies here are good at. Is giving back to the community. So let's talk about the people in charge. You're the president.
Yes.
Who are the other leadership ladies in the organization?
We have a great board, and then we have some directors. Different women in different positions. We're all volunteers. We all try to work hard together, which can be difficult sometimes, getting lots of opinions, but we tend to do well.
Okay, shift gears for a minute. The real estate industry. We were fortunate enough to discover a listing in the previous issue to this one.
Correct.
Of a house in Seminole Heights.
Correct.
Fits right in with the story of the Henry B. Plant Hall.
Yes.
And older residents, fully restored. Seminole Heights coming back as a preferred place to live now.
Well, in the beginning of that story, Tom, I don't think I shared this with you. The second owner of that home is a chiseler.
Small world.
Small world. She grew up there. Her father bought the house from a New England doctor who built the house, and they lived actually right up the street. And her mother loved the house. So her father bought it, and she grew up there. And she called me one day and said, "Sterling, my childhood home in Seminole Heights is for sale. Can we go see it?" And I said, "Of course we can." And we went up there, and she was overwhelmed with emotion. I was overwhelmed with the quality of the work. One of the contractors for the owners said, "This is who needs to be helping us sell this house." And that's how this all got started.
Well, the history of that house is fascinating, and the restoration job they did, I haven't visited in person, but I've seen dozens of photographs, and they're exquisite. The house is just absolutely wonderful. It is extraordinarily livable.
Yes.
And on a big piece of property for in town.
Yes, it's almost not quite an acre. And I think obviously one thing that just is so astounding is there's a wine cellar.
A wine cellar, and it's a cellar.
It's a cellar. It truly is a cellar.
So
There are probably, we understand, maybe about 8 to 10 cellars up there in Seminole Heights.
So how many people out there actually have downstairs cellar basement in Florida? Not many,
No.
unless you live in a stilt house on the water.
No. I mean, the whole landscape, everything done at that house has been amazing.
It's wonderful. And we
Yes.
feature another house in this issue, the one that's currently in circulation. This house is down on a park in South St. Pete looking out at the bay. It's another good-sized piece of property with a second building on it.
Wow.
And it's a wonderful view, and we've been very pleased to find these unusual homes and help market them. So I hope we helped with
Yes,
Seminole Heights.
you did. It's
That's
been...
a quote now. We can put that up in big. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
So,
And now in this upcoming issue, which is coming out in about another 2 or 3 weeks, we feature a house down in Bradenton on the Bradenton River.
okay.
Again, a big piece of property with room for your horses, if you have horses, a boat dock for your boat, a gorgeous swimming pool, and a large piece of land and a number of bedrooms, I think 7 or 8 bedrooms. And we're looking forward to always trying to find a unique residence that's come on the market that we can let people take a peek at. Even if they're not interested, they might spot something that would be something they'd want to do to their own home.
Sure.
Or recommend to a friend, like put a ship steering wheel on your porch on this cover.
Right.
Or in the case of Bradenton, they have a round circle in the glass front door that's really unusual, but eye-catching. You're going to remember that about the house.
Sure.
Just like I think in Seminole Heights, you're going to remember the black and white checkerboard floor.
Yes. Well, and when we featured open houses, it was wonderful to have so many of the Seminole Heights neighbors come in to see that they restored the house to what it really was.
Really?
The front door was destroyed, and the owners had it rebuilt and handcrafted to match the original door.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's
You know, we're used to history if you're from New England or something like that, but history in Florida only goes back so far.
Correct.
And when the standard building in Florida for a number of years was a one-story CBS, concrete block stucco.
CBS.
Over the years. But there are many historic areas in Florida, on the East Coast, in Miami, the middle of the state, and up in the Big Bend area in the Panhandle, and of course right here in Tampa Bay, where we have the history of the pirates, and we have the history of the cigar manufacturers, and we have the Plant family who came here, 2 brothers, and staked out the area and decided this was a good place to develop it. And we are so lucky to have their imprint. So we'll close up now by reminding you that on the 14th of March, you can go to Henry B. Plant Hall on the campus of the University of Tampa and find that special gift for a friend. This isn't like going into a department store where you can see 7 of the same jar that you can order 7 more if you want. There's only 1 jar that's for sale in this sale. You'll see every kind of unusual artifact you can imagine, and maybe you'll find that one thing that you can take to Antique Roadshow and make some money on.
That's very good
you
point,
never
Tom.
know.
You never know.
So this is an elegant flea, a high-end garage sale,
Yes.
and a way to spend money to get something that you want, have a good time doing it, and benefit
support
the maintenance and restoration and upkeep of the Henry B. Plant Hall at the University of Tampa.
Thank you.
About
Thank you
it?
for all you've done for us.
We're delighted to work with the Chiselers. duPont Registry Tampa Bay takes great pride in helping organizations that are helping others and helping our community, and we're delighted to be part of that. So that's it for today on this Tuesday. We'll be back with you next week with another stimulating and interesting interview with a influencer or magnet organization in the Tampa Bay area. Until then, go out there and be safe. Be ready for the traffic jams. A lot of people want to live here, so this is one of the problems with the benefits that we are so lucky to have. Once again, thanks again. It's Tom duPont with the duPont Registry Tampa Bay. So go out and make a great day, Tampa Bay.